some of the advice that you're sharing today is that it's really important to be, to surround yourself with the right kind of people, whether that's industry oriented, core values, people that you can learn from, whatever, where you can get mentoring advice and support. And I would say that is so true. For those of us who lean more towards competition and being competitors, we're probably not as good at this. So the sooner we recognize that we're competitors, now's the time to get humble. Because I'd have to say that I align with what both these gentlemen said. In the beginning of my life, it was me. I was going to do it, and just get out of my way, kind of a thing. And we're telling you that if that is your temperament, you want to flush that as soon as possible. And here's another reason why. Even though I have not known these three people for that long, I know that I have already referred people to them. Now, whether they've gotten to them or not isn't the point, but that doesn't stop. When you surround yourself with the kind of people, I made another huge referral in Denver between two people in the Lead Today community just the other day. It's going to be a win-win. They don't know each other. I know both of them, and they are a perfect match for each other. It's going to be huge for both of them. Glorifying God, meaning that if you're a parent and you're listening to this and your kid scores a goal, it's hard to describe. How can one describe it? Because you just know the joy that they feel in succeeding. And at least for me, I can get emotional when I see my grandkids or my kids, succeed. And that now has gone into the Lead Today community. When I hear about those that are in our community succeeding, it does that. So I think about that. I think that's what happens to God. If you can grasp that, is that when we decide to take what God has given us and then our gift back to him is what we do with it. And then how does that, excite God? He has emotion as well. Or maybe not always taught that in church, but I don't think it's any more true. You didn't say this. This is my analogy that I've used before. I think I lived life like this for much of my life, where I was holding on, clenched my fist, trying really hard. And then I learned how to live like this, with my hands open, realizing that if I live this way, it's just a better way to go. Some things come into my hands and some things leave my hands, but it's a posture that, that welcomes. Garen mentioned to all of us that heard him speak that at first he thought it was about winning, and now he sees it as learning. That is the exact same thing as when you think about winning, you are thinking in a finite way, as if it's over. It's never over. And if you think in a learning mindset, now you're thinking in an infinite way. Very important things to think about. Encouragement that all three of them shared with you, and I had to jump in and agree, is that if you're doubting yourself, welcome to the club. It's normal. We all doubt ourselves. Maybe we should talk to each other more about our doubts. Maybe we can find encouragement and strength if we become more humble and do that. We also talked about you're not going to find whatever your definition of success is if you're not all in. You got to be all in. And then I think Garen also gave a really good mini course there on opportunities and how to view that. I have a commercial before we end, but did that ring any bells? Is there something that any of you would like to say?
If I could, I would just like to say, to me, yes, we're talking business principles, talking values, but the most important place to apply everything we're talking about is with your family. You talk about what's the true definition of success. For me, it's 20 years of marriage to my wife. It's my 18 and 16-year-old boys who I think are going to be, strong contributors to society at some point. That's where we need to apply the principles the most. And we'll be most successful in any career or business we do if we're successful at home. You talked about the biggest gift you could give to your children is to work on a strong marriage. You talked about God's emotions. What excites him most is a strong marriage and family and taking care of your priorities at home. And that's been such a big part of my success, is having that rock and foundation at home. I couldn't accomplish anything without that, to be honest with you. So that's the most important place to apply these principles, and for what it's worth.
It's worth a lot.
I think I would tag onto that and just say that being able to model that, what's going on in your personal life, having a strong marriage, being a devoted parent, modeling that for your team members is really important as well. As a leader, it's really important to live by those values and those virtues. So hopefully that they would pick up on, okay, in order to be successful in business, first of all, you have to be successful at home. Because like you said, Paul, without that support, it's going to be really, really tough.
Yeah, I think one thing I keep coming back to is just embrace where you are in your life. There's purpose for it. And regardless of, wherever you're at, you're not going to be for very long. And just embrace where you're at, embrace what you're learning. Still look forward, still have goals, still, keep trying to accomplish everything you want to. But especially for younger professionals, it's hard not to get frustrated with where you're at, because you lose sight on where you want to be. And it keeps you from moving forward if you dwell on your circumstances of the present. Just embrace it. You're learning something that's going to help you later.